Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this tumbler tutorial, we are going to make a really pretty mountain sunset tumbler. So I'm starting out with my 30-ounce Stanley tumbler, and I have sanded the surface of my cup down. You can see there, it's got those rough sanding marks. You definitely want to do that if you're going to use a powder-coated tumbler like a Stanley is. You just want to rough up the surface. You don't need to remove that powder coating completely. You just need to scuff up the surface so your paint and glitter and everything has a little bit more grip onto the tumbler. So we're going to start out by spray painting the sunset on our cup, and we're going to use purple, red, pink, and yellow, and we're just going to do a very simple spray paint blend here. This doesn't need to be perfect. We are going to glitter over it, and you're going to see me go over this with multiple colors over and over again. I'm just going to kind of work my way through the colors, going back and forth until I get a fade with the paints that I'm happy with. You can use any colors you want. I wanted to keep this really simple with the purple fading into like the reddish pink and then fading into the yellow. And you'll notice that I'm only bringing my sunset about maybe 60 to 70% of the way down my cup. I'm leaving the bottom like 2.5 to 3 inches, just that charcoal gray that the cup came in. We're going to glitter down there, but we're going to do kind of a cool layered effect at the bottom of the cup. So I didn't paint that. I just left it that charcoal gray color. If your cup is a different color, the one that you're starting with, you can paint it either black or gray, even silver would be fine. But for me, I just left it the color that it was because it worked out perfectly. I let my spray paint dry about 30 to 45 minutes, and then I was ready to apply my glitter. Now to apply the glitter today, I'm going to use the epoxy method because that's going to give me the longest working time possible rather than using like a glitter glue or something like that. Using the epoxy method when you need a little bit more time to apply your glitters like we do when we're doing an ombre just gives you a little bit less stress because you're not worried about the glue drying before you get all of your glitter on and blended. So I mixed up about 20 milliliters of my Flynn Sisters Supply Shop Fast Cure epoxy. I am not going to use all of that 20 milliliters, but I was working on some other things at the same time, and I like to avoid mixing epoxy a lot, so I just mixed up everything at once. So I'm going to use maybe like 3 to 5 on this cup, and I'm just going to spread a nice even layer all over the entire tumbler. Alright, so starting out with our glitters, I'm going to take Gandalf, and I'm just going to put this on that bottom section of our tumbler that we left unpainted, and I'm not blending this with any other colors. I just want to go really nice, heavy, full coverage with this glitter section. We don't need to worry about blending this with anything. We just want nice, solid glitter coverage down here. So now getting into our glitter ombre sunset, I'm going to start with my purple, and this is Dazed from Peachy Olive Glitters, and I'm going to go, as always with an ombre, really light with this first round of chunky cuts. So I'm going to bring that Dazed down, maybe a little bit into the pink section, but I'm going really light-handed with the chunky cuts because we want to fill in and really build the blend when we get to those finer cuts. So once that purple is on, I'm going to move into my pink. I'm taking one of my favorite pinks of all time. This is As If, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to kind of blend it up into the purple and also, of course, down all the way almost to the yellow. And what's nice about As If is it's a little bit of a kind of like iridescent color. It's one of those colors that will really pick up the background that it's on. So it'll blend really super nicely even with that purple, which always makes ombres a lot easier. Next, we're going to take Paloma, which is a really pretty chunky orange color. This is a newer color from Peachy Olive Glitters. And I'm going to put this right in between the yellow and the pink, because when yellow and pink and red mix together, they make orange. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to move into my yellow glitter, and I'm using Peep this for my yellow. And now with the yellow, I'm not really paying attention to that bottom portion of the tumbler. Again, like I said earlier, we're not trying to blend anything with that gray on the bottom, because in the end, when the design is all complete, it's going to look like two separate entities. The gray part of our tumbler is not part of our sunset at all. It's a completely different part of our landscape. So don't worry about trying to blend your gray in with your yellow. You actually kind of want them to look separate. You don't want any gray even to get into that yellow portion because they're not the same thing. So now I've got all of my main chunky colors down. I did go in with Cool Mom, which is another kind of mini chunky cut. It's smaller than the ones we have on the tumbler, so it is going to help our blending a little bit further, but it's like an iridescent, almost neon pink. I use Cool Mom and Wednesdays, which is the finer cut of Cool Mom, a lot because they're so wonderful. So I used Cool Mom, and then I went in with So Grapeful for my purple just to kind of build up that coverage again. Now, if you don't have a bazillion glitter colors like I do, you definitely don't have to go this intense with your ombres. You can get a really good blend with just single colors. In my opinion, it's just a little bit more difficult to do that. You have to be a lot more careful with how you build up your coverage. I would recommend, if you're going to use just like all fine cuts, that you still go very light-handed for your first pass and then do multiple rounds of each color, if that makes sense, so you can really build up a nice blend and not end up with a sunset that looks stripy rather than really nice and smoothly blended. I let this glitter layer dry for about maybe 3 hours, and then I spray sealed the whole cup with 2 coats of the clear gloss spray from Rust-Oleum. After that, I added 2 coats of the Flynn Sisters Supply Shop Fast Cure Epoxy to the tumbler. Each of the coats was about 25 to 30 milliliters. So at this point, I'm ready to do some sanding and start adding all of my fun mountain elements. After sanding, I cleaned my cup with some rubbing alcohol, and now we can start to add our mountains. So I'm going to take some painter's tape, and we're going to do 2 separate sections here. So we're going to start off by taping off the bottom portion of the tumbler. Now, if your vision is for this to be another layer of mountains, you can do that. I kind of saw this as like a river flowing through our mountains, and I think that'll make more sense once you see the final design. But I'm going to tape this off, kind of thinking of it as a little bit of a stream flowing through our mountains. So taping this off, I'm making sure that I avoid the yellow area. So I want to tape off where the yellow and the gray meet because I want that to be completely covered up with our paint. So once I'm done masking off the bottom portion of our tumbler, I'm going to take my craft knife and I'm going to cut some very rough, natural looking peaks and valleys into our tape. Now, remember, you do not need to be perfect with this. You want to be as kind of like natural flowing as possible, if that makes sense. So I like to just go in with my knife and cut straight, but if you wanted to sketch what you're gonna do out with a pencil first, you can do that, but I just kind of like to go right in with my knife and just start cutting. So I'm going to cut in my really rough lines, and then I'm going to remove the top portion of our tape. So the bottom part of our tumbler that's glittered is going to stay masked off, and we're going to keep that little section protected from this first round of paint that we're going to do. Now we can move on to taping off our mountain range. So I'm going to take some more painter's tape and I'm going to wrap it right around the middle of the tumbler. Now, based on the way that your glitter ombre looks, you can decide how big you want your mountains to be or how little you want them to be. So I'm going to wrap this around and I'm going to cut the same kind of peaks and valleys pattern that I did on the bottom portion of the tumbler, except for this one, we're going to remove the bottom half of the painter's tape rather than the top half like we did on that first little one. So what we're going to end up doing is essentially creating this middle section for us to paint, and those are going to be our mountains. Okay, so to spray paint our mountains, we're going to use a few different colors. I've got white, London gray, and black, all from Rust-Oleum. And we're going to kind of fade our colors so that we create some depth and shadow within our mountains. So I'm going to do my black on the bottom, the London gray in the middle, and then the white on the top for some highlight. So I'm just going to go back and forth with my colors, just like I did in the beginning when we spray painted the sunset. We're going to do kind of that same thing. We're just going to work our way through the colors until we've got a spray paint blend that we're happy with. With this one though, you do want to be conscientious of what it looks like because we're not going to glitter over it. So you want to make sure that your paint is blended and looks good enough that you are happy with it, obviously, because you don't have the glitter to hide any spray painting mistakes. So just be careful, take your time, and don't be afraid to go back and forth with your colors until you're happy with the blend. So here's what my mountains look like. I'm going to let this spray paint dry for about an hour, and then we'll be ready to peel all of our paint up and reveal what they look like. Okay, so here's what our mountains look like so far. I know it kind of looks weird right now, but we're going to add a little bit more depth and dimension that will really bring the whole thing to life. So to start out, I'm going to add my moon. Now I just printed this out of printable vinyl and I'm going to cut it out by hand. I just found an image of the moon on Google and I'm just going to cut this out and place it up towards the top of my tumbler to show that the sun is setting and the moon is coming out. We're going to add some pine trees next. I think I found this SVG on Creative Fabrica. If I can find the same one, I will link it down below for you, but you can get any sort of pine tree SVG and that'll be totally fine. And I just cut these out of plain black vinyl and I cut a couple different sizes. And what I'm going to do is just place them kind of randomly around the tumbler. And I'm bringing the trunk of the tree all the way down to the bottom of the cup. And what we're going to do is create another layer of mountain at the bottom so that it looks like these are growing out of the ground and not growing out of our river, if that makes sense. So just be really careful when you're placing these. You don't want to rip them. You also don't want to have them be wrinkly or messed up. So you'll see as I'm applying them, I kind of just use my transfer tape to get the tree to stick onto the cup a little bit, and then I'll remove the transfer tape and place all of those branches and limbs and everything of the tree down once the transfer tape has been removed. Once we've got all of our trees applied, it's time for, you guessed it, some more painter's tape. We're going to do the same kind of technique that we did to create our main mountain range. We're going to tape off the bottom like inch or so of the tumbler, and then we're going to cut some more peaks and valleys with our craft knife. We'll remove the bottom half of our painter's tape, and then with some black paint, we'll paint the bottom portion of our little mountain as well as the very bottom of our tumbler. So all that you'll see left of that gray glitter section is a little strip in the middle, and that's what's going to be our little river or our stream flowing through the mountains. If you want to spray paint this, you absolutely can, but I didn't want to tape off the rest of my tumbler, so I just went in with my black acrylic paint. Of course, I'm using the Delta Creative Ceramcoat brand of paint, and I'm just going to paint this bottom portion of the tumbler like I said, remove that last piece of tape, and once our paint is dry, we can go in with our final 2 coats of epoxy. For my final coats, as always, I'm using the Flynn Sisters Supply Shop Artist Cure epoxy for maximum UV protection over time, and that's it. This tumbler is all done. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. I had so much fun making this tumbler and I can't wait to make another one. Of course, as always, let me know what you think down below in the comments. Give the video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my new videos. Thank you all so much for watching and I will see you in my next one. Okay, love you. Bye. Hello friends, thanks so much for watching this video. I want to say a huge special thank you to my elite fam, my channel members, and my subscribers. You all make this channel possible, so thank you so much for being part of the fam. If you want more exclusive content from me, you can join my elite fam at patreon.com/elitefam. You can find my tumblers and digital files on my website madebymalstudio.com. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, you can find me on Instagram at madebymal_studio. Here's another video for you to check out, and I'll see you soon. Thanks so much for watching. Love you. Bye.